Good evening, savages. Tonight we are weighing good versus evil. Is it restful or restless or beneficial? With loved ones or spirits being in your vicinity.
Good evening, savages, and welcome back to another episode of Savagely Paranormal. So, tonight we have a pretty interesting topic, and I think it's going to be an interesting discussion between the three of us about whether or not we think spirit guides or spirits of, relatives that have crossed over are beneficial or if they are, things that are pretending to be relatives.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you think? I know we've read a few articles on it. It's been a hot topic, hot discussion.
Yeah, so it's hard to say. I know everybody wants to believe that
Right.
the things that go bump in the night is just somebody coming to say hi. Could it be? Sure.
But it could be other things.
Right.
I mean, there are other worldly creatures and things that do the same kind of
Right.
activity.
And then there's also the question of, I guess, the morality of crossing them over.
Right. Is it really them coming back to visit? Is it, something not?
And is it your responsibility to help them cross over? Do they not want to cross over for a particular reason? Or do you just say, it's time for you to go, here's the light, you need to go?
I mean, that's really the big question right now. Like, do you actively try to cross over spirits or loved ones that are hanging around? Or do you kind of just let them go and hope for the best? Eventually they'll find their way.
Right. Because some people think that they're here for a reason, whether it's to help guide you in your life or deliver a message that they didn't get to do while they were alive or to complete some unfinished business.
Yeah.
But then it comes back to,
when they cross over, can they come back?
right.
Do we know that for sure?
Did they really
No.
cross over and now they're back to complete whatever it is? Did they not cross over? Is there really nowhere to cross over?
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of speculation. I mean, the paranormal field is really just like a lot of speculation.
Right.
I mean, like we don't know for sure if they're actually crossing over or if there is a place
Right.
to cross over. If you just wander aimlessly, are you reborn? We don't know that.
Right. So I came across this post by somebody on Facebook. And this is just his own perspective, but according to him, it's all BS.
Yeah, doesn't he believe that like it's all like demons in
Yes.
disguise and
According
stuff?
to him, if there is a spirit hanging around, whether it's, as he says, attached to you or your house or an object, that it's really not a spirit at all. It's something more sinister because your loved ones, if there is somewhere to cross over to, why wouldn't they cross over?
I mean,
Why would they be hanging around?
I mean, they're not all spirits that pass. Like, not all people that pass cross over. A lot of them have unfinished business. We've
Right.
seen that.
Right. And a lot of them, he has nothing about. Well, he did. He said the wandering spirits.
Is this a relative of yours? Because that's pretty biased.
No.
He called them wandering spirits. And according to him, there shouldn't be any wandering spirits. They should either be a human spirit who has passed on and crossed over, or a more sinister spirit that was not human and is here just because. We've come across a lot of wandering spirits because A, they don't know they passed.
Yeah.
B, they're trying to get a message across to somebody. Or C,
There's a message that they need to tell.
they don't feel deserving of crossing over.
Or that, yeah. We have a lot of those like wandering type spirits that they know that they're dead, but they have like a specific thing they have to tell somebody, and
Yeah.
a lot of them just won't go.
I personally have run across a few who died tragically in car accidents or whatnot, and they have pretty much gathered that something is
Amiss.
amiss.
Something's wrong. We just don't
But
know what it is.
they
but something's
never
wrong.
actually figured out that they had passed and how to move on.
Yeah. And like I guess with our line of work, you really have to look at like the overlying factors of each entity, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Like not all spirits are entities, but like kind of. So
It's an umbrella term.
umbrella term. But so you have to really like take into consideration like the facts behind what is going on
Mm-hmm.
and like the activities that the spirits are causing.
Right. And back to his article, he says that
Because not all spirits will like physically attack people.
no. And
It's usually the really bad ones that do.
right.
It's just, it's a hit or a miss. Sometimes you have that. Sometimes you don't. It depends.
Yeah. But
It
he
depends.
said that when things happen, people sugarcoat it to make themselves think that it's a relative. So, okay, using what I assume is his logic, okay? Somebody's walking and they get pushed down the stairs, okay? And somebody, they tell themselves, "Oh, I didn't get pushed down the stairs. That was just grandma. She was tapping me on the back and I tripped and fell down the stairs." That kind of thing.
Yeah.
But,
Or in Megan's case, she gets tripped over air.
right. But
I
I
do
don't
that.
think,
It's accurate.
I don't
it
think
is.
the average person is going to go that route with their thinking.
No.
The average person is just going to say, "Oh man, I just tripped down the stairs." Somebody isn't going to go that far to come up with a story to say, "That was just grandma."
Right.
Most people in that case aren't going to think a family member tried to push them down the steps unless it was a very malicious family member.
Right.
And you do have those kind of spirits too, though.
And
like, not
I'll-
everybody that died was a good person in
Right.
life.
A lot of people, when they're pushed down the steps or they feel something like brush past them in the hall,
Yeah.
it's a very physical feeling for them. It's not something that they're gonna go in the back of their mind go, "Oh yeah, it was just grandma."
Right.
But a lot of the times, I know most people are like, "Oh, we're in a dark hallway." Usually happens at night. Sometime you get up in the middle of the night, you go to the bathroom, you feel something in the hall. It's dark.
Yeah.
And your initial thought is not, "Oh, that was just grandma."
Right. So I'm not sure
I was
where
like,
he
what the
gets
heck?
the thinking
Right.
behind this, but most people aren't going to go that route immediately.
I don't know. I just assumed it was a family member
No.
of
No.
No,
Megan's over
it
here.
was some random thing that popped up
With-
on
with-
my.
with the whole bias of it's a sinister spirit.
Yeah. No, that was some random thing that popped up on my scrolling today, and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
That doesn't work for me.
And everybody's entitled to their own opinion on
Right.
how they want to think about something. I mean,
Right.
if that's the way they want to think, it may not be right, but
Right.
we
Right.
may not be right.
We may not, but I thought, well, that would be a good topic for us to discuss today
Yeah.
because I've seen too many things that makes me be able to say I don't think it's that way. Am I an expert? By no means. Am I correct? Who knows? But I don't think
I
It
mean,
has
I've
to
been
be-
proven wrong a few
right.
times, but
I don't think it has to be one way or the other with this. There are a wide range of spirits that walk among us. It doesn't have to be
There are.
black or white.
yeah. You know, not every spirit, like, just because it's more, like, more malicious type activity, like, you know, somebody's getting smacked or punched or something, doesn't necessarily automatically mean it's a demon.
No.
When you have people that were truly not great in life pass on, they don't
continue
become
that.
love and light in the
Yeah.
not
No.
always. They don't always become the love and light and the oh, I love you, let me pet you kind of people.
Yeah, no.
Like if you're a bad evil person in life, chances are you're going to be a not so nice spirit.
Right.
And we have seen that. I've seen that on plenty of cases.
In most
Right.
cases, they say that the life you live is just your immortal soul piloting a flesh suit. So,
Right.
True.
if that were the case, once your physical body dies, you are just left as your soul.
Yes.
Perhaps that's what we're seeing, regardless, is a manifestation of this actual soul.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see that. I
It'll
mean,
suck for you guys because I don't have one.
oh, so you're not gonna come back and haunt us forever?
Oh, I didn't say I wouldn't do that. I just don't have a soul.
Oh, okay. I mean,
That little black beating heart proves that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I don't know. I mean, it's such. It is a big debate though. Like, I mean, when we were at Beale Manor, I was thoroughly proven wrong with my automatically assuming that all children are demons. Well, I mean,
Kidding.
I did get pinched in the butt while we were there.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't necessarily say
Probably
that was
spider bite.
demonic. Probably. It was a really gross, weird basement. But,
Yeah.
I mean, are all children demons? Probably not. But,
Right.
in the lots of cases that I have worked on outside of our group, you know, most of the time you see demons mimic children
Mm-hmm.
because it gets people to let their guard down. I
Right.
always go in thinking, you know, this is probably a demon.
Right. But they can also do that when
The little
like-
old people
like
and
that
stuff.
guy was saying, you automatically turn it into your beloved whomever who passed. The sinister ones will tend to portray themselves as that because that's what you want to see.
Yeah, the demons are very good at mimicking things. They like to mimic things to like get you to let your guard down and get you to lose your sense of like
Yeah.
self-preservation.
Right? Yeah.
Their whole, you know, objective is to get you to invite them in and get you to interact with them, because the more you interact, the more power they have over you.
Right. Because the tighter the bond becomes, the tighter the attachment can become, and so on and so
Yeah.
forth.
I mean, and we've been to like the seminary a few times, and they have that one weird creepy doll room. Sarah's bedroom, I think. Sarah.
Oh,
Somebody's.
the little kid room that's got money all over the floor.
They've
Yeah.
got money all over the floor, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, people bring money for her all the time," and I'm like, if that doesn't scream,
And if I remember correctly, there was nobody even in that room named Sarah.
no, and I'm like, if that doesn't scream
Yeah.
sketchy,
Hmm.
why does the ghost need money?
Then again,
Why?
I mean, there's that room in the seminary that we've been to that every time we go there, there's a different smell.
Yeah, that place is weird.
Hmm.
Overall, it has weird things that happen everywhere, all over the place. It's a cool experience. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
stuff just is weird there. I don't know.
So,
But like again, if you're giving it offerings,
Right.
now it knows that it can make you do whatever it wants. It drives you to bring things to it.
Right.
Does that tell me that it's a person? Probably not.
Right. I would say no.
I mean, because if you're dead, why do you need monies and weird baby dolls and
For the ghost pizza.
stuff? For the ghost pizza?
Ghost
They're gonna call
tacos.
Uber. They're calling the taco stand down the street and be like, hey, I want to place a to-go order. They're door dashing. They're getting random food show up like, we didn't order this.
Yeah.
Somebody in this room ordered this. Yeah, that's weird. Oh, we gotta collect all of the change off of the floor to pay for it?
Cool.
It wouldn't be the weirdest thing
Yeah. No.
that I've ever heard. But
Hey, I mean, shuffleboard's demonic if you listen to people.
that's true. They have
That's a new one for me.
one of the groups that was there thought that the shuffleboard game that was painted on the floor was
Or
demonic
sigils.
symbols.
Okay.
It's definitely a game that you can see painted on the floor with like numbers and stuff.
Note to self. If you ever hear that, who that was,
I'll tell you later.
don't talk to them.
We'll tell you later.
Yeah,
But
you get weird things like that all the time though. Like
yeah.
people are weird and
But insofar as, I mean, yeah, it might be nice to have your family members around for a while, even after they're gone, even though they're not really gone.
Right.
I mean
Oh,
like
the conundrum.
there's like an but
they're
there's
gone,
like
but they're not gone. But most people can't see them.
and there's kind of like that ethical question of like, do we convince those wandering like family members
Do you have
To
the
cross
capacity to?
Right.
to
Most people
encourage
don't
that?
have the capacity. They don't have the spiritualness of that in order to get somebody to pass on.
Right.
Right. I'm like, do you? I mean, it's kind of like an ethical question, though. Like, if you have a spirit, like a relative that comes to visit, and they haven't crossed over, like you know that they're not at rest,
Right.
do you actively like try to convince them to go to the light? That's that's a big ethical question. Like,
It is.
or do you let them kind of do their own thing until they decide that they want to move on?
But then you also have the problem, which I've seen at different cases, where
The living is like holding them back.
because whatever reason,
Little Susie who
yeah,
wants them to stay, and
Right.
now they're stuck. They're trapped.
because she's constantly,
Like,
talking
summoning
to her,
them.
calling her, whatever. So then she gets stuck there.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
is that ethical to go in and sever that tie so that they can go? Because now you're putting them at rest.
but you're
but
causing
you're-
emotional damage to a kid.
Right.
But if the spirit is asking
Right.
for your help in crossing over, then I would do it. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know. What would you do?
Yes.
Chemistry says when spirits are earthbound, I thought it was because they are attached to something.
Not always.
Not always.
They can become attached to something, someone, someplace. Sometimes they are earthbound because they have unfinished business. Sometimes they're earthbound because they don't know that they have passed. There's a multitude of reasons that they could be.
And then
Quote,
sometimes
earthbound.
you get those spirits that are not necessarily like spirits, just like residual haunting, and that's like things that
Yeah.
have been recorded into like the land. Those are usually places with like high limestone or quartz
Where
or
something
water.
traumatic has happened, or
Yeah.
something like when we were at the opera house and there was a guy who every day walked the same path down from work and out the door. So you have what's called a residual haunting, where there is
Like-
no spirit there. It's just a replay of something that just is on repeat.
It's like an imprint into the land. It's like a record player skipping, like
Yeah.
stuck in the same thing. But what do you think? Would you try to sever those ties with
It's not my place.
sideways?
But if we were investigating somewhere and the spirit asked for help, even though little Susie is the one that has her stuck, ethically, should we help the spirit or should we...
help the client keep them?
That would go more so with the client, because you have to look at their everyday household, how it runs. You would basically have to get them to go talk to their child and be like, look, you need to stop doing this, because eventually, as beneficial as it may be, if you hold an intelligent haunting basically hostage,
Right.
it's going to turn malicious.
Yeah, eventually it's not gonna be like all love and light. Like, yes, I'll like sit with you at night and I'll
Right.
talk to you and I'll,
I don't think grandma would purposely go about hurting the child, but definitely cause some mayhem to get attention that, hey, I need to be let go.
Energy changes over time. For good or for ill, it's going to change. Hauntings are no different.
True.
This is why you can see places that are highly active go to nothing at all.
Yeah, there was an episode of A Haunting that started with a little girl, and the family was like, the family had like just had a baby, and the ghost was like a little girl, and like it started off cute and innocent, like where she would like move stuffed animals and stuff, and then later on it got more and more and more violent, and it was attacking like the dad, and it was trying to convince him to like murder everybody. And at some point you're like, okay, it went from being nice and cute while you were giving it what it wanted to now it's not so great, and now it's one of those like
And as such, like in that where they tell you, oh, just ignore it, it'll calm down. Again,
that doesn't
there are
always work.
benefits to that, but there are also other things that could go wrong with that.
I mean, if it knows,
You've been giving it this attention all this time.
Yeah.
To going to, nope, didn't see it, didn't hear it.
that's gonna make it mad.
So now you get that shift from your beneficial energy where it wasn't doing anything before to being, kind of helpful, whatever, whatnot, to being now it's slowly ramping up that malicious energy.
Yeah, because it knew that you could talk to it and speak to it and interact with it, and now you're going cold turkey, no contact, just ignoring it.
And it
It already knows that you can interact.
So it's going to get mad and do things that you can't ignore.
And a lot of times those I can't ignore this anymore is like it biting you, it's scratching you, it's hitting you, it's pulling you off the bed, it's doing all of those things because now you're making it mad because it knows you can give it the energy that it wants. And now, because you're now terrified and trying to ignore it, you're feeding it.
Right, and it's going to get stronger and stronger.
It's basically, in essence, a double-edged sword, and it can go either way. It could go from being highly malicious to eventually benevolent, peaceful, and possibly being able, helpful around the house. And vice versa. It could go from one side of the spectrum all the way to the opposite end.
Yeah. I think we've seen some of that. Not really a whole lot with our cases, but
So going from your story with the little girl, okay, that eventually ended up causing all the havoc.
it did actually end up being a demon in the end.
That's what I was going
but
to say. Was it portraying itself as a little girl
It
to
was.
reel them in so that they weren't afraid?
It was. And
But then again, not to downplay it, but a lot of what you see in shows like
Well,
that
yeah.
is
Right,
played
it's-
up.
it's-
yeah,
so
it's Hollywood.
was it really a demon?
Who knows?
Who knows? I mean, I don't know.
But it could have even been something like not a demon, just somebody who was
Ticked
not a
off.
good person in life.
Right.
And they, they wanted to cause some damage. So what do? We convince the people we're good and sweet, and then
And as far as like being loved ones and that, and back to my portion about being the immortal soul and all, if that's the case, your soul is timeless. You've
Right.
had many lives.
right,
Your soul still has those imprints. You can become whoever you were before.
that is true.
And if you're a malicious person and you happen to be a little girl in a past life, there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. So like this kind of ties in with like the whole like spirit guide thing though. Like a lot of people question whether spirit guides are like there to protect you, to guide you, or if they're really some ulterior motive entity
But what
trying
is
to get you to do things that it wants you to.
What is a guide in essence?
Well, there are good spirit guides and there are bad spirit guides.
Yeah.
It's all free will, who you choose to listen to. And,
That's
you know,
true.
that can come across as intuition. That can come across as that little voice in your head telling you to do or not do something. It can be something so simple as trying to leave the house at 8 o'clock. You get distracted and don't leave until 8:05, and you find out you just missed a huge, devastating accident.
Yeah. It's kind of, I don't know. It's an interesting, weird phenomena. Like, not all spirit guides are there to like guide you. Some of them are just to be like, like
I
you
mean,
have the Watchers. They're supposedly like spirit guides.
I don't count them as spirit guides, but
okay, so
that's just my opinion. I don't.
people tell you that you have two paths in life. You have your good path and you have your bad path. There are spirit guides for this path. There's spirit guides for this path. There's also spirit guides for that third neutral path,
Yeah.
where you basically walk the razor's edge between both.
Yeah.
It's
That
all
makes-
about your moral compass when it comes to that.
Yeah. And like some of the spirit guides that you like come in like that some people have, they're like atoning for things that they've done in the past. So
Mhm.
in like past lives, like we have the one that hangs out with us, that is
My music man.
yeah, he dings at us
He
and
plays music. If we're somewhere, he plays music, different types of music, to which we have now figured out what each type of music means. If we're going down the right path, if we need to, switch over here, or don't go there.
it's always the really creepy sinister music when he's like, "Don't do it."
You've done
Listen.
enough. Move on.
No.
Calm down.
No. We
Take a
don't
breath.
don't do that. No. Mm-mm. And it's always like the really creepy like dun dun dun. I'm
Yeah.
like, well, either he's mad that we're on the right path, or he's telling us that we better backtrack and not go down that road because bad things are gonna happen if we keep pushing those buttons. But
Yeah.
now I kind of want to see what happens if we keep
Right.
pushing those buttons.
He should know us well enough by now that if he plays that music, we're stupid and we're not going to stop. We're going to push those
It's like
buttons.
we're at touched button.
Yeah.
We want to poke the button like.
Yeah.
Well, then you have like the weird, like boring, like opera music, and we're like, okay, apparently we're not making things mad enough, or
Yeah. No.
we're not questioning things the right way.
That's just so that we.
Just because weird, boring, weird and boring, it's an opera music doesn't mean it's not exciting to somebody else.
True,
That's
but
true.
we've narrowed down his different types of music scores that he plays.
Well, maybe the opera is exciting to him,
Maybe
Maybe.
he's
Usually-
and
we
you're you're interpreting it the way you want to interpret.
Maybe. We
Maybe.
usually just say hi when he does that.
yeah. And then he kind of goes do do do, and
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, let's keep going.
Yeah.
Like pop it in to say hi. Okay,
So
cool.
we have not figured out who he is or was or whatever. All we've been able to narrow down with all of our different
Just the creepy music.
devices.
Like,
Is that, and that he is paying for something he did in his life, that this is his atonement to whatever.
reincarnation.
Yeah.
Something. We don't know. We don't
Yeah, I
know
don't
what
know.
he's atoning
But-
for or what he's doing after this.
But
He's just
that,
there.
okay, so like you said with the past lives, you can show as, even if you were a bad person, but you are a girl, you can show as a little girl. So, going with what that guy said in his novel that he wrote, taking all this into account, how does reincarnation fall into all of this? Do you only, like, pass on completely when you're done with all your lives? Or are you just kind of crossed over in spirit form until it's time for you to be born again?
Ooh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Most, from what I understand about like reincarnation, is even still you still remember some, if not most, of your past lives.
Yeah. But like if you're a spirit, where are you in that reincarnation thing? Are you done? Or are you just waiting for your next turn to come
usually
around?
It depends on if you've learned all of the lessons that you're meant to learn.
Yes.
Right.
So if you've learned the lessons that you were set out to learn during that iteration between lives, then you're able to reincarnate again. Depending on the religion
I
you follow.
thought
Right.
that you were like reincarnated until like you learn
That's what I
all
thought.
of the lessons, and then you kind of get to ascend to a higher something.
That, but I
I-
thought
again,
you were
that-
given
It
like,
depends on.
I thought you were given, yes, for that, but I also thought you were given, like, when your soul is first born, or whatever you want to call it, you were given X amount of times that you get to come back. If you complete everything by number 5, then you can move on. But you have up until 10, and if you don't by 10, I don't know what happens, but that's it. That's your last one.
I think it
Again, that
depends
goes
on.
with what your religious beliefs are.
Yeah.
Some people believe that you're meant to learn lessons throughout your life. If you don't, you have to spend time in the afterlife atoning for that, trying to figure out where you went wrong before you were given the chance to do it again. Others believe that if even you'll complete some of them through your life, but some of it you cannot finish until you go back toward the afterlife.
Yeah.
It's one of those, questions that varies depending
Right.
on like which religious beliefs you follow.
Right. But it's a good,
And then
a
there
good
are some
question
religions
to-
where like if you pass on in this life, you can choose to be reincarnated or you can choose to move on. You can choose to come back as like a person or an animal.
I want to be a cat.
You want to knock stuff off the table?
Yeah. I want to be spoiled, rotten, and run the household.
Yeah. I mean,
If I come back as a cat, I'd be that feral stray one that
I
nobody
would
wants.
be too. I would
Oh.
be the stray one, and I'd be starving to death and have
Oh.
to kill things to eat them, and
I
yeah,
wanna-
that wouldn't work.
I want to be an angry trash panda so I can rattle the garbage cans at 3 a.m. and make everybody mad.
You can do that being a cat, and you don't have to live out there sometimes.
But I have opposable thumbs then, and I can get into
You can be
more.
a monkey.
She's gonna be like the raccoons in the great outdoors.
The pss, 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 and like bite somebody and give them rabies. Yeah, that's me.
Oh no, I think she got my reference to that. It's an older movie.
I don't,
Yeah.
I've never seen that one.
You're
John
a baby.
Candy and- John Candy and Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah, nope, haven't seen that one yet.
You're the baby.
I'm the baby.
But could that be like when that could possibly explain some of the why the loved ones come back? They could be
Trying to figure
completing-
out where their lessons need to
Yeah.
go from there.
maybe they
Yeah.
messed something up raising their kids, so now they're coming back to help the generations after them make up for what they may have done.
I mean, and with the whole reincarnation, past lives, future lives type thing going on, you'd have to think you could even puzzle that into some of like the fantastical ideas and like the dark fantasy in that. Like maybe, why do we picture dragons in that? Maybe it could form a multiversal aspect too. Just because you die in this one doesn't mean you aren't coming back somewhere else in a different multiverse.
True.
Yeah. I mean, they say that there are like all of the planes like
Overlap.
overlap. They're one right on
Right.
top of each other. So just because you're like gone in this realm doesn't mean that they don't pop you into a different one
Right.
and like, haha,
Well,
joke's on you. Now you gotta start all over learning things, how to do
That's
things in a
kind
different
of like
plane.
that Mandela effect, where I joined a Facebook group about it, and I've been reading the coolest stories. But like, the one was this guy they had went skiing with, and they were, he was done for the day. His friends were still skiing, so he was sitting at the bar waiting for his friends. And this old lady comes in, and she's waiting for her family, so she sits down next to him, and they're talking, having a good old time. Well, she got up to leave, and his friends were coming in, and as she was leaving, she turned around at the door and just like locked eyes and stared at him. Next thing he remembers, he's falling on his butt in the driveway, and his friends are way ahead of him, and he gets up and he's like, guys, where you going? We're not parked over there. We're parked in the lot over there. And his friends thought he was crazy. They're like, no, the car is right here. Well, he remembers parking in another lot. So later on, after he got home, he Google mapped it, and it shows two parking lots, the one that he parked in and then the one that they got in the car in at the end of the night. Then the next day, him and his dad, they both did this together. Then the next day, him and his dad go look at it again. There's only one parking lot.
Yeah.
And he has no recollection of anything that happened except for watching that lady leave and then falling on his butt in the driveway. Then there was another one where
a lot of people believe that there were two different timelines running back to back on the
Mhm.
same plane and they merged. And now that's why like you have some of those like weird like old like the Fruit of the Loom,
yes, the Jiffy and the
the
Jif.
Jif. Yeah. There's a lot of those like at my timeline it was Jiffy, Choosy's mom choose Jiffy. It was weird. So I don't know. Like a lot of people are like, yeah, like when the new year hit, things merged that one year. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Like Y2K.
Yeah.
But
They say that the timelines merge, and that's why all of like the brands and the like the theme songs that we remember aren't like
How
this-
we actually remember them.
yeah.
Right.
We're like, I remember.
But then there was another one.
Yes,
I
but-
forget the whole story, but it was basically a girl in a sweater. It revolved around her having this sweater, and then she lost the sweater. But her two timelines merged, and somebody actually saw her with the sweater on. But then they saw her like 15 minutes later in the same spot without the sweater.
Weird. So there's a market in our town that everybody goes to, and before they moved to their new location, I went in to buy a pop, and the cashier looked dead in the face. Was like, "You were just in here like 10 minutes. 10 minutes ago. What did you forget?" I've never been in here before. So we're like, "No, seriously, you same outfit, same face, same hair. You were here 10 minutes ago buying cigarettes and stuff." I'm like, I don't smoke, so I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't. I don't know what's wrong. They're like, well, then you must have a twin. Pretty sure I don't have one of those. Pretty sure I would know if I had one of those. Definitely do not have one of those.
Aiden.
It's weird.
Oh, looked like there was something on the screen there.
What if those random pains you get are because of your twin somewhere out in the world?
Yeah, she smashed her finger.
I mean, it's possible. I don't know.
So what if,
It's like
you
a
know,
doppelganger.
what if the spirits that we think we have of our relatives, they're not really their spirits at all? It's just,
They're on a different timeline.
yeah.
Oh.
That is a question
Oh.
that has been posed before through different communities. Is what if? So you have like what they call the residual haunting,
Yeah.
Yeah.
where you see that copy
Yeah.
paste every time.
Yeah.
What if it's the same? Like you'll see the spirit come down the hall and turn into the wall.
Yeah.
So what if in that next plane over that overlaps us, that house is flipped,
Oh.
Yeah.
and what you're seeing is the imprint, the thinning veil there,
You're seeing somebody
Like,
on
out-
that plane.
walk that's living in that house, walking that way, and well, instead of their hall going to the right, it goes to the left.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like the floor plan is flipped.
That's an interesting thought. I mean, I guess it's entirely possible. So, but then again, if you're seeing them, do they see you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are we they're weird,
their
creepy
ghosts.
ghosts?
Yes. And
That would explain why, like, some of them are like
that
looking creeped out.
you know,
Right.
that's why like when you see the apparition standing there and it looks
Just looking at you like,
Yeah.
you're like,
you see this? Do I see that?
Yeah.
and it kind of looks like they're mirroring the same effect looking at you, and you're
They're
like,
like, what the?
I looked at them and they looked at you. Yeah, it's one of those.
I looked at them and they looked at me.
Right? It's one of those like, you're seeing this, I'm seeing this, we're seeing each other. Like, I'm so confused. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
I guess it's
That'd be that
possible.
weird one that we'd get on camera too. 'Cause we'd all be, do you see this? And they're over there with their camera, and they're like, are you seeing this?
Like, man,
Irrefutable truth.
we
Oh,
turned
wouldn't that be
them-
cool if we had a time slip merged there and we
All
got
of our
to see their
podcasts was
video of
together.
us?
That'd be great. But I mean, like the other day when the last week when the light went wonky on us in mid podcast, and we're like, oh, the spirits must not have liked that. What if they just click the button to turn it off?
Their
just to
producer turned the light off. He was
Yeah.
adjusting it.
Yeah.
just to make them mad, like just turn the light off, see what happens. Like, no, okay.
Yeah.
Like, turn
No, the ones in this
click the
house don't do
buttons.
anything on command.
that's true.
Their producer and our producer in the alternate universe has a whole head of luscious hair.
Yeah, yeah. And all the kids are bald.
Yeah,
Okay.
because they all love their hair.
Caden actually has some meat to his bones.
Right? He's the muscle man. Tegan's the stick figure.
Yeah,
Tressa's got a mohawk.
that would be hilarious. Oh,
She's like real tomboyish.
but it almost makes
brothers
you like wonder though, like what other planes there are, what other timelines are running the same as ours. Like,
That is the $1 billion question. If we could ever figure that out,
Right, we'd
we
be
would
rich.
never have to work a day in our lives, and neither would any of our kids or grandkids.
right?
Yeah, they'd probably give us a master's in quantum physics at that point.
Right? Oh, I could be smarter than my kid because he thinks he's a genius. I could have a master in quantum physics.
That's
That might
I'm
actually
like, that's
that,
too much math. I'm good.
that might actually throw like relativity out of the water at that point.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
He's human over
his
there.
brain's going. I can smell the smoke.
You can see the hamster
That's
wheel
me.
turning.
That's me. The wheel's spinning, but the hamster's dead.
I don't know. What do you guys think? What are your thoughts on
The spirit
the spirits
guides,
and
the-
if they're really relatives or are they like the girl in that haunting show where I don't want to use the D word because they throw that around too much. But are they a malicious entity that lures you in by thinking it's your dearly departed?
It's possible. I don't know.
I don't know. No, I was asking them.
Oh, right. I don't know. My brain's... We're done.
Brain.
Her hamster died.
My hamster died like halfway through this conversation trying to keep up with.
He fell off the wheel and committed suicide.
Fell off the wheel and had cardiac arrest.
You see the spider and had a heart attack.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. Yeah. No. But I don't know. It's definitely like an interesting thought that, what if...
It is. I saw that this morning and I was like, that's perfect because
Right.
who knows, first of all? Nobody knows for certain. And that's just my thought that no, not every spirit is evil or has an ulterior motive.
Not
and
every spirit is a guide.
Right. And I fully think that our relatives can come and visit us if they want to, or if they feel we need them to, or whatever.
And again, maybe it's our alternate universe relatives.
Right?
Something feels off. Let me walk in this room.
Right?
I feel a disturbance in the force. I must walk into this room to see what is amiss. I don't know. Yeah. That's an interesting...
You walk into the same room as your alternate universe self, and that's why you can't remember what you went in there for.
Ooh. I do that all the time.
So do I. Oh, I don't like that.
Just a thought.
I don't like that thought. Like, I walked into this room. What do I need? I don't know. Factory reset me because they walked into the same room at the same time looking for something. Probably the same thing I'm looking for, and I can't remember because we're both in the same...
There went that room, but it went right out the door.
It ran away.
So
Yes.
we are, if we ever have time, we are going to be doing some interesting podcasts. I can't say for sure when because we're still trying to figure it out, but we're going to do some big deep dives into some of the hot topics of today.
Like the Anunnaki. I really want to go into the Anunnaki.
I know nothing about that.
Some
We're
of
gonna
the other,
dig
weird
into
stuff.
Scientology. We're gonna dig into the Illuminati. We're gonna dig into the Freemasons.
We're getting shadow banned.
Shadow band.
We will disappear into obscurity.
We'll be here one day, gone the next. Oh, well.
Right. Well, what do you guys out there in Savage Squad want us to cover on our next podcast?
Yep.
Drop it in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Turn on notifications.
Yes. And I think that's it.
Yeah. Stay savage, y'all. Come on, you gotta do it too.